Good morning, Jim Tom. How are you doing?
Good morning, Radlin and John. Good to be here with
In DC.
you. Things are fine in DC. Yeah, we're right near the White House here.
Well, you are looking healthy, and that is ultimately all that matters, right? Oh,
Right. Yes, working from home has some rewards.
That's great. And you said you're close to the White House. We're really glad you could join us today because we know that you're right there in DC. You're our man on the street, close to the action.
You know exactly what's
Yeah.
going on. You've got your finger on the pulse of.
I do try to do that.
Right, exactly. So, who better to talk to than immigration attorney of so many decades, Jim Tom Haynes, about President Trump's most recent executive ban. It has not been signed yet, but I know that they are working on it. Executive order banning immigration.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to jump on today, and we just wanted to have a little discussion. I know there are a lot of people that are just frantic. We've had a lot of emails already from our clients. Is this going to impact our case? What about my interview? Just a lot of questions coming at us, understandably so, because of the concern regarding this. So let's talk about it. What do you think?
Well, let's jump in for just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
We all woke up to this information, this news. What exactly is it that we found out this morning?
Well, it looks like that the president around 10 o'clock last night tweeted that he was going to ban all immigration kind of for two reasons. He mentioned both because of this terrible virus and to preserve jobs for Americans.
Okay.
So this is preserving jobs for Americans has been his theme since before he was ever elected.
Okay, so here's another question though. So what, from a practical standpoint, what does this mean for our clients?
Well, I think as a practical matter, the question that all the clients are going to have is, well, what does he mean getting the green card here in the United States, for example, or changing status here in the United States from one category to another? And on all of his previous bans, he has not applied it to people who are already here. So I think for now, we have to assume that this will not affect people who are already here. So people who are applying for the green card now in the United States should not have any problem, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that, Jim Tom, and that we have a lot of people who are in the United States who are going through that right now as far as green card interviews that have been descheduled by CIS, and they're inquiring about, hey, how is this going to impact us and what's the effect? So the way that we're seeing it is that it is essentially for people who are applying for visas and green cards abroad, outside of the United States, and putting a halt to that right now. That's the way that we're seeing it now. This is, again, very, very, very new and breaking news that just came out last night. The executive hasn't been prepared yet. Still writing it, still working on it. What are we telling our clients right now? So just as a little bit of history here, our law firms have worked together for the past 20 years. Jim Tom is of counsel to Gardner Mendoza, and we are of counsel to Haynes Novick, his immigration law firm in Washington, D.C. So we've worked together for 20 plus years, and Jim Tom has always been our mentor in all immigration matters. And, he's got more gray hair than we do, so he's in the right position for that, certainly.
Well, more gray hair than me for sure.
So what's the message that we're sending to our clients right now?
Well, I think that persons with relatives abroad who they were hoping to bring in are the ones who are really out of luck. When the president previously issued bans, it caused chaos at the airports because it was done in such a chaotic way. So right now, there's so little international travel anyway that it probably won't have that same kind of effect. But and also, but the fact that the U.S. consulates abroad are closed anyway, so people have not been issued visas recently. Anyway, there could still be some who were issued a visa a month or two ago and haven't come in yet. So, they could have a problem.
Yeah.
For example.
Right. And we have cases that are going to be scheduled for, say, for example, a fiancé visa interview. Okay. And the most recent thing that I read about 24 minutes ago was that these are going to be on hold for 120 days. And so clients have already been waiting 8 weeks to get their interview. And then you tack on 120 days, that's 4 months. I mean, the fiancé visa has now turned into an immigrant visa type situation where you have a really long wait. The whole point of getting a fiancé visa is to have it processed a little bit faster. So we are basically on our end, and I'm sure you are as well with your clients, just trying to calm our clients down a little bit, because they are feeling that separation and just kind of that fear of, when is my fiance going to be here, or when is my husband going to be here, or spouse going to be here, or family member. And this is definitely causing a lot of fear and just dismay, really, about the whole process. And so I think that, would you agree that the business community is going to be really impacted by this with regard to business immigration?
Well, it's interesting. I read somewhere that it referred to persons who are arriving now. So I don't think it's going to affect H-1B immigrant workers. I'm sorry, non-immigrant workers who are already here and working. But I doubt if they'd be able to safely travel. Well, who's traveling now anyway? But I think the point is that they're not going to bring new H-1Bs in at this point. And of course, the economy is in chaos now, so probably some of these H-1B jobs that would start October 1 with the new fiscal year are in jeopardy anyway. And of course, in addition to the previous bans on certain countries in the Middle East, there's been the COVID bans on most of the countries in Europe, on China, other spots around the world. So as a practical matter, people aren't coming in now anyway. And this could be simply a political move on the part of the president to be able to, for his constituency, to be able to say that he's really cut off immigration and protected their jobs. Even as a practical matter, it may not have a lot of effect for now. And so persons, I think, with petitions for relatives abroad just have to sit tight for the next few months anyway.
Yeah, that's you and John were talking about this morning.
Well, Jim, Tom, you, through all these years, you've given us many, many words of wisdom. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Actually, things are reversed a bit now, and I do learn a lot from my proteges.
Hey, thanks for that. I appreciate that. That's a great compliment. But I wanted to just add a couple of other things to this, since people are watching, that the shutdown of USCIS for in-person interviews or biometrics appointments, our clients swearing in to become US citizens. This may be a different matter, but with regard to biometrics and interviews at USCIS a couple of weeks ago said it was going to be closed to in-person interviews to at least May the 3rd. So I just wanted to report that we have gotten notices where our interviews were going to be on May the 19th, and a little bit, May 15th, middle of May. And we have gotten immigration notices from our local immigration office, and they are canceling those interviews. So we are probably going to see another notification from USCIS that they're gonna push that open date back by a few weeks, hopefully not for too long. So, and the federal court is also closed, right?
Yeah, I was really
Yes.
surprised by that. They pushed theirs into June, which was I was surprised by that.
Yeah, it's somewhat surprising too, because the president has been pushing for the economy to be reopened all around the country, and he's had conflicts with the governors about who has authority to do so. Well, the one thing that for sure the president has authority over is the federal government. So, why hasn't the president ordered that all these offices be open to the public?
Good question.
Period.
That's a point. I mean, and effectively, all the new green cards, they're getting stalled out on the local level here that are already ready for people already to become green card holders. And then all of the people who are waiting to swear in to become U.S. citizens are also waiting because they can't swear in and take that final step. And guess what else they can't do if they never swear in? Vote. They can't vote.
Yeah.
Just a
affects
little controversy out there, you know.
Yeah.
Let me throw some gasoline on the fire a little bit, but
well, it's probably convenient. I think that probably more immigrants would vote Democratic than Republican.
All right. So has spring sprung there in the nation's capital, or is just still a lot of false stuff like that here in Virginia Beach? I don't think you heard me.
did you hear that, Jim?
No, you were cutting out right then. Will you repeat that, John?
I was asking if spring has sprung there in the nation's capital, or whether it's still cold.
Oh, has spring sprung? No, it's very nice. Yeah, you can see I live by this national park here, so I've been getting out
Is that where the
a
bridge?
lot.
That's where the bridge is, right?
Oh, the bridges are not to be seen now because of the trees. Just in the last week or two, the green has grown out.
Yeah, that's
I should mention, that the courts are going to be closed now through May 15. That's the latest, and we don't know if they'll come back with traditional appointments where everyone goes in and you have the prosecutor at one table and the attorney and the client at the other. Who knows if that's going to turn into video hearings in some cases, where they could wait longer for the master calendars, where you really do have a lot of people in the courtroom, and simply devote the resources to doing the previously scheduled individual cases, where it really is just the judge and a clerk and the ICE attorney and us at the other table. So it all remains to be seen how they do that.
Your experience, would you think video would work? Do you think that's a bad?
Yeah, I'm used to video, of course, with the detained cases, and it does work. Yeah, it's fine. So I think this will encourage. Well, you could handle a case from Virginia Beach before the judge, instead of referring them to me.
Well, if they want the best, then they better
Yeah.
just stick with you.
Yeah, they better.
Well, I do know my way around the courtroom. At least I did until a month or two ago. I've not been there since all this closed down.
I'm sure it'll be just like that.
All right. Well, then, any other updates? Anything that our clients ought to be aware of that you can think of, either of you?
Oh, I think there's an issue about fingerprinting, about doing biometrics on cases that we've already filed or are filing now. What is your experience on that? I know that they're using biometrics where they already have them. They're renewing them, refreshing them, they've been doing that for years in the courts. I'm surprised that USCIS hasn't done that previously. So, what is your experience on that down there?
We are still down here, and typically if biometrics transpired during, and the client is getting interviewed, then they're gonna want another set of prints.
Yeah. So those cases would be on hold then.
Yeah, these cases are completely on hold. And I did want to mention also that if our clients have gotten a request for evidence or a NOID, a notice of intent to deny, or a NOID, a notice of intent to terminate, or any type of motion to reopen, they're trying to file an appeal. And if the client has received that in between the days of March 1st and May 1st, then they are giving those folks an additional 60 days to file that response. So
Right.
on an additional 60 days, which it's something, right? We'll take
Yeah.
it.
You know, I have seen 2 cases recently where the client had filed by himself or with another attorney and missed. In one case, actually, was it the medical? No, I think they were both denials were because of issues with the affidavit of support. And instead of giving an opportunity to fix that, they simply denied the case. So the good thing is they are waiving some interviews. I've had several interviews waived on employment-based cases and on parent-child relationships, which they've done occasionally in the past also. But they are denying cases now where in the past they would simply ask you to give them what was missing.
Right. I've seen that as well. Just a flat out denial. And it's tough because then the only options are really, they're not great. A motion to reopen is terrible usually. And then a refile is also terrible, timely, and costly. So they're tough. We have to make sure you get the filing done right the first time, hopefully.
Right. Yeah, you really got to be careful on the initial filing.
Absolutely. Anything else to report from DC?
I think not, but we should check back soon, though, and I'm sure there'll be developments in the near future.
Absolutely. We're keeping our fingers crossed that this is not something that's going to impact people who have already been issued immigrant visas and are just trying to travel to the United States when they can, when it's safe to do so. And also just people who are already in the queue for immigrant visas. I mean, it just, particularly for the family-based cases, it would just seem pretty harsh if this went on.
Oh yeah.
If the executive order included those folks as well. So
I was just reading they're hoping to maybe get this signed by Thursday, so there could be a mad rush to the United States by people who are able to come in right now, like H-1Bs who are abroad would try to get back in the next 48 hours.
Yeah. It is definitely a crazy time, but as John likes to say, we're going to hold the rudder, and as you said, we all just have to sit tight, watch it unfold, and be prepared for whatever comes our way, which of course we will be.
Good.
That was some advice you gave me years ago, Haynes. To hold the rudder steady.
Thank you. I will do that. Okay. Bye, guys.
Keep talking.
We'll talk later.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.